welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin. Welcome back to the place where we are empowering people as always to live better, love better, and be better. I am joined by my amazing wife she is loyal, she is kind, she is considerate, listen. Alright, so she is smooth, she is debonair. I don't know if that's the right word, but she is, I don't know. Yeah, that's a man compliment. Alright, but she's amazing. Alright, my wife Tarsha.
So are you.
All right, hey, I'll take that. I am debonair and handsome, and I'm from, All right, so we are reviewing, recapping, reacting to Married at First Sight, episode 4.
Yeah, shout out to all our private investigators on the page. Man, I love you guys. Thank you for, commenting and making that happen for us. We're busy people.
Right.
So we appreciate you.
So here's
throwing
the thing.
It in the count.
If you guys are watching the recaps and reactions and what have you, you've been watching any of the shows that we do, we don't do a whole lot of digging into the Instagrams and the other lives and all that stuff. If I see something great, but we don't go digging for it, so we appreciate and value you guys have been there, letting us know,
giving us
the spoilers for what's about to happen and stuff. So we're seeing that. Shout out to, I forgot who it was, but whoever said the comment that Chris looks like a big toe. Listen, that one made my day. I just fell out laughing literally when you said that comment. So again, let us know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button. We like to have fun on here. We give the great perspective, male and female.
Yep.
Couple, we've been married for 24, almost 25 years.
25 years in May.
So we do know a little something. We were not married necessarily at first sight.
No, it wasn't.
But we've been married for a little while. Right. All right. So let's jump into it. Let's just start with, let's go with Virginia and Eric. All right?
Yeah.
All right. So they're that couple that there's the age difference there.
Right.
She is she's young.
I mean, she's not real young.
Right.
She's 26 years old.
Right.
So she's not real young.
In comparison to him.
If you want to compare, I guess the thing that she feels like, she still wants to hang out. Mm-hmm. She wants to have a good time, as she calls that, her good time, drink and have a good drink. And he's more conservative.
Remember, he's traditional. He and his family are traditional.
So, so he kind of holds back a little bit. I think if they balance it, he needs to loosen up. He just seemed tight. And
very tight.
She's very loose.
Yes.
So I think if they balance it out, it could work for him. I don't think they should stay focused on that.
Right.
And, maybe that's how they're videoing it, because, they take a lot of videos.
Story, right.
So I think if he lets her have that fun side, then she'll know when to reel it back in.
Right.
But when you try to kind of like put a cap on that,
put a clamp on it, yeah.
Then that's when I feel like you're going to have more problems than saying, you know what, hey, you want to go out tonight? Let's go ahead and get it out your system before you explode.
Right. So, I mean, they start off the episode, they're in bed, they're cuddling, like nice cuddling, right?
She's very affectionate.
She's very affectionate. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much was liquor, because y'all know she had a lot of courage. She has a lot of liquid courage going throughout the entire episode all the time. You almost see that all the time, right?
Well, I don't say all the time. Like in the last episode, they seem this season, I feel like they gave him a lot more alcohol.
So and then he does mention that he was previously married.
Yes.
Kind of explains that.
Yeah, he kind of gets it out.
And I think that's good. With her, it was good to bring that out.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know I would have brought it out to her parents.
No, I don't feel like it was necessary.
Right.
I think as they get to know him a little bit later on, but if it was wearing on him and he wanted to get it out of the way, then hey, best time to do it up front.
Yep. So, and he does make the statement that he was pretty crazy in college, and I don't know if I
believe him.
We don't believe you,
but
Eric. You need more people. I'm sorry.
But if a kid in college may make anybody a little bit.
He was Dungeons and Dragons crazy, high on doing Pepsi crazy. That's his crazy level. So
he said in that.
He said it. So I
wasn't there.
Everybody has their levels of crazy. I just don't know that his level of crazy would qualify for what I would consider crazy in college.
I don't know if I believe
Shout out to my Morehouse time. Amen. All right. All right, and then let's talk about Haley and Jacob, who will forever. They have already immortalized themselves to me as the Hall of Fame for awkward couple. They are completely awkward all the time.
I think they're just really trying to get to know each other, and when you're meeting someone who's kind of quirky, 80s kind of person, you're trying to figure out a way to approach it where you're not being standoffish, but you don't know how to connect yet with this person. So that's my take on it. I don't feel like they're awkward all the time. I think they're just really trying to figure out, how am I supposed to get to know someone that's maybe really opposite of me?
And I think he's more awkward than she is.
Yes, because he's a loner, right? You know, and then he tells this horrible, I thought it was a horrible story about his brother putting glasses in his ear, and now he can't be in water for a long period of time. I was just like, oh wow, what?
He rambles an awful lot,
and he kind of repeats himself a lot. So he likes to talk about himself.
Yeah, so we have some speculations about some other things going on there, but that's a whole other topic.
But so far they seem to be just trying to get to know each other, and they're really open, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I applaud Haley. Not that she's doing anything extraordinary. I think both of them are making the effort.
They're making the effort and trying to be open
into it. All right. And then Ryan and Clara.
Yeah, Ryan and Clara. I think he's being very intentional and really trying to get to know her. I mean, he talked about that she was sleepwalking and sleep talking. And
she's very active in the bed in that she moves around a lot.
She moves around, but she says she's never lived with a man before. Right. So that means she hasn't shared a bed. So now she has to learn to find her space. Everyone has to do that. Yes. You know, once you start sleeping with someone.
And listen, let me
every
ask,
night.
If any fellas are watching this, let me ask y'all, if you are married or have someone that you are in bed with or what have you, do you all have the issue of cold feet trying to rub up against your feet?
See, every woman needs just some warm feet at night. Now, when you have your husband that's trying to deny you a feet,
and I will do that because I like my warm feet,
and I want to get my feet warm.
Love you, but no, I'm going to keep that to myself.
No, you're going to get me. I'm going to get your feet.
All right. Anyway.
You're going to want me, baby.
But Ryan and Clara, they seem to be working very well together. I like them as a couple.
I think he's trying to be proactive, trying to figure out, okay, what things could go wrong and how can we kind of maintain them before they happen.
Right.
Because they talked about conflict and how to handle it. Yes. And based off his conversation with her parents, because they all met the parents, they got a chance to talk to them. So I feel like, they're going to have their moments, but if she stays calm enough to allow herself to work through it, and he's patient enough to work through it with her, along with his own feelings, there might be some red flags about religion here.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And I'm a little concerned how much Ryan didn't realize that that's going to be a part of his life, and why it wasn't not showing up on a questionnaire enough.
Right.
Because I felt like in the past, when they put in a questionnaire about your spirituality, they really try to meet that.
Right.
So it seems kind of weird that all of a sudden religion is coming up big for him, but they didn't have a match in that department for him. Did he really clarify how important religion was, or did he make it very low? Right.
Yeah, that's one of the things that could be a issue for them, because she has been in church.
She's been in church.
She went to Bible college for a year, she said.
Right.
But then she got burnt out, so she's like, I'm over the whole organized religion. Okay.
Right.
Got that. His family, his parents are ministers.
Correct.
And so now the question is, how important is that to him?
Right. And I think that's a conversation they really need to have. Yeah. Like, hey, this is where I was. Now that I'm married, I'm feeling a little different about it.
Right.
But really talking to her about, what happened. Could you see being at least open to trying?
Right.
Depending on what type. Now, it depends on what type. There's so much when people say they're Christians.
Right.
And where they go to church, what type of, if it's a denomination, and what happened in church. Because people, if she can associate the difference between her relationship with God and
the
Christ,
relationship that she had at that church.
Right. That could be a big eye-opening and help
here's
her.
the thing,
or made her less.
We are pastors. We are in ministry.
Sure.
Been in ministry for most of our lives. In fact, all of our lives together.
Right.
And we recognize that there is sometimes where you are in a church situation.
Right.
That colors your view.
Correct.
That really, if we're honest, has
Correct.
little to do with God and the relationship with God. So that's a good thing to kind of figure out for them. I think that's something that they'll have to, over the course of this, begin to dig into and figure out.
In any relationship you're in, I think people who are looking at this saying, I do want to be married at some point in time, you need to decide right away how important religion is to me.
Right.
It can't just be all of a sudden come important when you get married, when the person you've been dating hasn't made that priority.
And if you have different opinions or different views, will it be a deal breaker if your spouse does not go 100% alongside you?
Correct.
In other words, if it's this is important for me, but you do what you want to do, and I'm good with you being, your faith wherever it may be.
Right.
Cool, that's for them, right? But if your thing is, I want my spouse to believe the same, we worship together, all of those things,
our kids will go to,
and the spouse is not, then that could be an issue that comes up. Yep. All right, let's go. We're gonna skip over Paige and Chris. We'll come to them because there's a lot with them. But Vince and Brianna, who I also like as a couple.
I like them as a couple. Unfortunately, his grandmother had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And that's just like the hardest things. Like I'm in this process. I just got married, and now my grandmother's heart attack. They're doing, tests on her. She's in the hospital. So now he has to share this vulnerable moment with someone he hardly knows. So you can tell the awkwardness in wanting to hold her and really take her in and try to be vulnerable in the moment he's in.
Right.
But at the same time, she is still a stranger.
Right.
So.
But she is like, look, if this is what we got to do, we got to go. So she is not caught up in, this is my honeymoon, oh my goodness, this is bad for my honeymoon. She's like, look, we can come back to Vegas.
Yeah.
If there's an issue with your family, I'm part of your family now, let's go ahead and handle it.
Right.
There was a discrepancy, though, as far as his anger issues, or if there are anger issues, let me say that, because the sister makes it seem like, look, if he gets mad, you got to calm him down, because he gonna get mad. And he, on the other side, is like, it takes a lot to get me mad.
I mean, it just depends, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's his sister.
Right.
So she's been with him all his life.
Right.
So there could be moments he haven't had anything, and then all of a sudden he blew up, and that's all she remembers.
Right.
Because, like, even, you talk about that, but I think about when we were dating, you've never raised your voice. You never got upset directly at me. I know one time you got upset with a waitress who thought she saw you in the restaurant prior to us.
On Valentine's Day, this waitress, if I was trying to do, trying to double dip and date her and date someone else, even if that were the case, as a waitress, you don't be like, didn't I just see you here earlier with somebody else on Valentine's Day? So yeah, I'm a little upset because we're in this early phase of our relationship, and we're going out for Valentine's Day, and now this waitress from Wet Lobster is putting this in her head. I'm like,
she didn't say she didn't call you by name.
She was like, weren't you here earlier with somebody else?
I didn't even think anything of it.
Anyway,
but no, don't try to slip past this. So, we've been dating for a while, blah blah blah, and we decided, you propose, we get married, whatever. So, the day before our wedding. Okay, they messed up on the tux. And Kevin comes over to my apartment and punches the door, right? Was it my door you punched?
Here's your wall.
Oh, punches my wall because he's so upset because they mixed up the tux with you and your groomsmen, whatever. So you come over and you're punching walls. And I was like,
there's a little more to that.
Okay, but the point is, I never saw you that angry where you're punching walls. And I'm like, first of all, don't come over my house and put a hole in this wall. I don't own this. This is not mine. So you ain't gonna punch no hole in the wall. Because you're a big dude. I'm like, what if you really put some force behind it? So first I was about to get mad about that. And then I'm like, hold on. You haven't got mad this whole time we've been together, a little bit over a year and a half. And you punching walls over this? What happens when we get married? Are you gonna start putting walls in my house?
It was also just to add, it was also our graduation. We were graduating from school that same night.
Still.
And we were told that if we did not make it to graduation on time, we didn't walk.
Oh, it was the day of my graduation.
It was the day of graduation
right
as well.
Before our wedding.
So there was a couple of things that were stressors for me that caused me, again, I was not angry at my wife. Was not
the
wife to be. I wasn't. I was frustrated, and so yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna punch this wall because one, it ain't gonna hit back. Two, it's a wall. If we need to patch it, we patch it. But I was angry, so that was the one time.
So it was like, oh, should I have a red flag here? Are you gonna be punching things for the rest of our life?
Married at First Sight.
I'm just saying.
They do not care about the history of Kevin and Tarsha Crawley.
I'm just saying, guys.
All right, so yes,
put some comments in there about that.
There's some questions about whether or not what his levels of anger are. Right?
I think it's okay.
We're gonna get it back on track. All right.
I think it's okay. It's gonna be all right.
Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. Listen, we may even do, we may do something for Valentine's Day. We might do a live or something. Who knows?
Okay.
We'll see. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. We'll see. Don't hold me to it. All right. Now, Paige and Chris.
Yeah. So we wake up. Everybody else is waking.
Well, first of all, they have a box of condoms. Like,
oh yeah, that was on their in their room
or whatever. So I don't know if someone brought that or what.
I don't know. It was kind of
like, okay.
We were like, okay, well at least somebody wanted them to be protected.
If you ever went to college, it would, like your health services, they typically would have, like at your health services, they'd have like a bucket of condoms. That's what it looked. It was like a big box of condoms. It was just all types and sizes.
Right.
It was all color, shape, sizes, all of it, right?
Yeah, and so everyone else is waking up in bed or they're with their significant spouse. When we come to the scene with Chris and what's the young
Paige.
And Paige, I'm like, well, why are they waking up mad? And then like why is she by herself? So the scenario starts going, hey, Chris wants to go get his breakfast like 8:50.
9 o'clock.
Now it's 10 o'clock and I'm calling him. I'm not able to reach him. I don't know what's going on. Did a bear eat him?
Yeah, that was her statement.
And I'm like, what? Oh my God, what's going on? He comes back, said he had a panic attack.
Yep.
And he had a panic attack because,
well, she tells it, first of all, that they consummated not once, but twice.
Right.
Consummated that night.
After he mentions that, right.
And that morning.
Right.
He basically has this panic attack, basically saying, I'm not as attracted to you. I don't find you're not what I would normally date. You're what I need on paper.
Right.
And he said that same thing to her friends.
Right.
Her
so
bridesmaids.
This is not the first time we're hearing
Right.
it.
So he's at least consistent in that.
Oh, he's consistent when he's telling
his timing on when he says that stinks.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Correct.
Because if that's the case, and we talked kind of about
we talked about
but the timing on it is, if that's the case, well, mention that to her before she opens her legs and y'all consummate.
Right.
Because now she's looking at this like, did I just get played?
Right. And we said it and he said it because I thought, we know that a way a man connects is through sex.
Right.
If
you don't know that, yes, that is something.
That's how they
the way
connect.
we connect.
That's why after the fight they want to have sex. Why? Because I want to feel like I'm reconnecting, right?
Right.
That we're back together, everything good.
Right.
And so for him, he was thinking, well, maybe I connect more with that.
Right.
And instead of saying that and stopping, like, hey, I feel like we're about to get into something. And I'm thinking this is going to wait for me to be more physically attracted to you, because right now I'm not really physically attracted to you. So he could have had that conversation, because my understanding through Paige, they talked about 3 or 4 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So he had a lot of... Or
at least they were up until 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever that looks like.
If I remember it correctly, we only looked at it one time. She was indicating that they had talked and they were up to that amount of time. So he still had time to kind of put that in the picture so they could have talked through it a little better.
Right.
But it turned out it came out at the wrong time. So now she's really confused.
Right.
I'm confused why she didn't have the experts or somebody to call. So because they're meeting parents, she decides to give very detail about the night and why she's confused this morning.
Because first of all, Chris's father just strikes me a little creepy. I'm just gonna say he strikes me as a little creepy. If you just, for me, if I just look at the body language and everything,
I think he's just a very polite, nice guy. That's my opinion.
let us know what you think about Chris's dad.
Now when he met, he seemed a little real friendly. So
Watch the body language, y'all.
So
Watch the body language.
In this episode, I feel like he was being very polite. He was hearing her out.
He was.
He understood her point.
Yep.
Based off of what she was sharing and how her perspective on it.
Yep.
So I felt like he did a good job.
He did. Now, yes, he did. He did make the right statements, in my opinion, after the whole thing.
Sure.
Because he did make the statement, "I raised my son to be respectful and da da da."
Right.
Raised him to be a gentleman, to be up front.
Right.
And then there is a scene where Chris's dad, mom, and aunt
right.
kind of talk to him about
right.
this is what Paige has been said or is said to us.
Right.
Talk to us what's going on because
right.
this is not how we were expecting this to go.
Right. So Chris had to have a very vulnerable conversation in front of his parents because she shared everything. She didn't hold back at all about what happened that night, that morning, and what he did after the fact. And so Chris gave his perspective of what he did, and he's like, okay, I hear where you're coming from. Now, obviously, they didn't share the rest of the scene or what other, they said that they supported him and his decision, and everything like that. So then Chris was upset because he felt embarrassed.
Right.
He's like,
you telling on me. You told on me like I'm a little kid.
Right, about us having sex.
Well,
and that's where I'm like, I get his perspective because
I get it.
That can be very embarrassing when you start sharing about, I never went to my parents and told bad, good, or indifferent about you.
Right.
I felt like it's very important that my family always have a good perspective of who you were.
And same from my side. Yep.
And because anything that we have, it's going to be between us.
Right.
I can share it with my pastor. I can share it with friends. I feel like I can have confidence, a confidant in. But I'm not going to tell it to the parents. So I get his perspective feeling disrespected. That's what he said. I felt disrespected. I felt embarrassed sharing about sex. And then she said, I called some of my guy friends. Now your guy friends are thinking I'm crazy too.
Right.
So it's like, I felt for her because she really wanted clear understanding. And I don't understand where I've seen in other seasons where the experts were there, not as soon. And I don't know why she didn't have the ability to call on them to have an outside perspective without muddying her newly established.
I think for this,
or trying to establish her
this was like less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
This was not. We've seen couples where they've been having issues on the
by the time they got to the honeymoon.
By the time they got to the honeymoon and things, and so then now there's conversations and FaceTimes and what have you. But this was, y'all just got married, y'all went to bed, and now
it's like the cameraman showed up and like, where Chris? Well, let me start with the story. Okay, hold on, let me put.
And then one other thing that Chris said that I was like, dude,
what?
First of all, he gave the litany like I did at the beginning. I'm cool.
They made up. They kind of made up, and
but
they were in
LA. One thing
part
we missed also was the night they were, after their marriage.
Right.
He was taking off his shirt. He was like, "My chest is huge."
Yeah.
Now I'm not in the best shape of my life. I'll say that. I can have no issues pointing that out. However, I know what a bodybuilder's or someone who is saying that they have a huge chest for a man.
Yeah, that wasn't it. I'm a novice. I like to work out. I watch videos of bodybuilding and how they get their body. It's an art.
Right, it is.
And so I've seen men that have bigger breasts than me. I'm just saying. Because they're just muscular.
Right.
It's sculpted. I'm like, dang, I think you're a double D. And so when he said it was taped because he had a big chest, I was like, not to bodybuilding standards.
Right.
So
right. I was like,
I'm just saying.
It wouldn't even cut. But
you
okay.
know.
All right, but yeah, so they did make up, what have you. He apologized.
He apologized.
They did come back and have a good conversation.
They had a really good conversation.
We're going to start kind of afresh.
Yeah, I think she has Paige has a very good maturity about her. Yeah. She knows what she wants. She's trying to figure out what God has planned for her because she's a believer. Mm-hmm. And so she's bringing her faith into it to see her navigate through this situation.
Yeah.
And Chris wears his feelings on his sleeve. So he's been emotional. He's cried. But he's been very transparent in his talks. It's just about navigating when those things should happen.
And how to say it.
And then being able to also empathy for someone else, you know.
And you said something in our conversation. You said that maybe his panic attack also had to do with the fact that she's a little more qualified than he is.
Yeah, and that's what she
has her business together.
She does.
Thanks to our internet sleuths, thanks to you all in the comments. We've heard how, I guess, he lost his franchise with Subway, I think it was. So, you know, she's got her degree. She's a successful accountant. So it could also be like,
can I really be the husband that she needs?
Because one of the things that I'm looking at with Chris and that I'm picking up is that it seems as if he is very good at putting on appearances. But then when you seem to get beyond that, you notice these cracks in the foundation.
Yeah.
Is what it appears.
And that's what it appears, right? But we haven't even got to talk about his job situation. But, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I can imagine him have a panic attack. Well, this is not the type of woman I date because maybe that woman is not as successful or she really needs me more than I need her.
Yeah.
So now you have a woman that's on your level. Yeah, she may not look the way she wants, but she is everything you need on paper.
Oh, yeah.
And that needs to translate in his head so he can get comfortable for who he really is and really become who he wants. I think he sounds like he has a very strong desire to be that person. He just has to make the decision to become that person.
Do it. Yep. All right. So that's and then we get to the trailer.
Yes.
And the trailer for next week, it looks like the bombshell that we have been kind of anticipating and kind of thinking and hearing rumors about will probably drop next week. So definitely make sure you hit the notifications so that you know the moment we drop the video next week.
Right.
Talking about next week's episode, you get on it. But that's it for today.
Yep, share, like, subscribe.
Absolutely. And we'll see you again next time. Yeah, keep the comments coming. We'll see you next time. Be blessed. Have a good one.